Hey everyone, just have a quick look at Bitcoin and where we're at with Bitcoin. So we're on the hourly chart to begin with. Always good to have a look at the hourly chart to give you an indication of what you think the price is going to do in the near term. And in a way, it's the near term that all affects our emotions, doesn't it? You know, it affects the way we're feeling about things. Although we're all want to have this long-term picture, we're all sensitive to short-term movements. So here on the 26th of November at 4 o'clock, we came down to 2,118. We'd had a remarkable run. We'd had this huge run up. We got into the 19,000s. We didn't get to the all-time high. I don't know if you can remember back to the 23rd, 24th of November. We'd got into the 19,000s after having what was an astonishing run up for a number of weeks there, where we'd had about 18 3-day candles that were green. And so we'd had that remarkable run. And this was the first correction. This was the first pullback and correction. And it was quite significant. Went from 19,400, went down 3,000 in a matter. I mean, we got to 16,300 there. And that was at 8 o'clock on the 26th. And the time we're talking about when the highs were was the 25th of November at 1 o'clock. So a few hours there, not many hours, big, healthy correction. Then we made our way back up from here, from the lows there of 16.2. We made our way back up to the 30th of November, back up to 19,800, touching those all-time highs. Following morning, we did hit the record all-time high. So we came down then. We came down perfectly to the Fib 50 at 18,074. We came back up straight away to the Fib 236, got rejected, back down to the... Can everyone see where I'm pointing at? Let's get an arrow. So we went back up to the Fib 236, down there to the Fib 382, perfectly touched it, back up, got above the 236, but sort of kept using it as support. Although we got above it, it wasn't a firm break above where you're bullishly closing hourly candles above. We're sort of hovering around it, battling around that 236. Same thing here. We went above, but we didn't really fulfill any upward action once we'd done that. We came back down. We used it there as resistance after going below it. So we tried to get back above it, couldn't. Went down to the 382, then went back up, played along it from the 5th of December at 6 a.m. all the way up to the 8th of December, just hovering along that 236. Then 8th of December, we came down for a healthy morning correction. And we came all the way down to that evening. The 8th of December was a pretty good correction day. We started using the Fib 50 as support on the 8th. Then on the 9th, we came down, and we came down all the way perfectly down to the Fib 618. Touched it, bounced off it strongly, right back up to the Fib 382 a couple of hours later, 18.5. We got rejected, we came down, and now we got support, strong support off the barometer, the big barometer on the hourly chart, the 20-hour moving average. So we bounced off of the 20-hour moving average, back up to the Fib 382 last night, 18,500. Then we got rejected. We came back down. We touched on the on the hourly, the 20 hourly, this blue line, and we're sort of receiving support from that level now. Now, a break above the 382, this here, this 18,511, we're looking at 19,000 again. That's a big number, that Fibonacci. Always good to look at the hourly chart. Let's have a look to see where we are on the bigger picture of Bitcoin. It's always good to zoom out, and let's do it on that one that we had it on. It's always good to zoom out and look at the bigger picture where we are. So on the daily chart, we had a remarkable run of green days, really, without any significant red, or the odd one here and there. As you can see, the flight upwards was littered all the way from back here in October, beginning of October, when Bitcoin was 10,400 level, or there, around the 25th of September. We came all the way up to 19,000 without many reds. We had a red there on the 7th of November where we had highs of, we had highs of 15,788 and lows of 14. You probably can't remember that now. It's all a blur. We've had so much bullish action. Quarter four since the beginning of October has been astonishing. So let's get rid of this fib that was on the hourly chart. Let's have a look at this in more detail, what's happened here. So the 20 moving average on the daily chart, look, it was strong support for our correction on the 26th. And we got back above it, and now we're actually below it. And it's actually, at the moment, behaving as resistance. Look, we couldn't get above it yesterday. Now, if we get above it today, where is it? It's at, oh, I am sorry about that. I wasn't going to open that. We are at, so the 20 is at 18,620. So not only is the fib at 18,511 important, I'd say the 20 moving average is more important on the daily chart, getting above that again and using that as support. So 18,620 for tonight's close in exactly 18 hours time, as you can see there. If I just show you there, 18 hours time. So that counts down. So 18,620 is a big number to get above that moving average again. We'll have a look at where we are on that weekly chart briefly. I don't think there's a lot to show you. Let's have a look at an indicator first on the daily chart. So we have our indicators, don't we? I think the MACD is pretty bearish still. The moving average convergence divergence is bearish. Yeah, it's creating bigger red lines. The blue is way underneath the orange. Now you're looking for a bullish breakout for the blue line there, for this blue line, to get above the orange. Oh, I can't go down there, can I? So yeah, you want this blue line to get above the orange. And for these reds to start getting smaller, they're getting larger. They're getting larger. So we're under bearish momentum there on the MACD. On a stochastic RSI, we're down near the bottom actually. So there's plenty of wiggle room to go up. We could just go along sideways. These two could go along sideways at the bottom. But usually when they're down low, there's room for them to move back up. As you can see, this one here came down, it went back up. Not for long though, it went back down. But then it shot back up. So there is a lot of wiggle room there for the stochastic RSI to bottom out and go back up. And see some strength in that. Right, the Chaikin money flow is an interesting one, and I'll be really interested to see where we're at with that at the moment, because we've had some bearish action. I don't like looking at it like that. I much prefer it when it's an area to look at. Okay, so we're still well above zero, but we have come down from our highs. Our peak was actually on the 5th of November when Bitcoin's price was still 15,000. We'd had real bullish momentum there, and our peak in the Chaikin money flow was there. So we're still well above zero. We're at levels that we were at back in August when Bitcoin was 11,000. It's interesting to see this because it's an indicator of whether it's bullish action or bearish, and we're still way above into positive territory with that. Now, the basic one that we always look at is the RSI. We look at the RSI. Let's get rid of that to make this bigger. The RSI is still in bullish territory at 50. It's on a downtrend. It'd be interesting to see. Let's go back to our hourly chart and look for divergences. It's good to look for divergences on the hourly chart and the 4-hour chart. Divergences always tell a tale of. So we're looking for an opposite. So we're looking, if it's going down the RSI and the price is going up, that's bullish. Sometimes it takes a little while to spot. So bear with me a second. Right, sometimes they do take a while. Oh, we don't want that. It's difficult to get the zooms correct. So we had downward action there, we had downward action there, we had upward. Right, there doesn't look to be any divergences at the moment in the chart there. Quite right now. We did have divergence I can go back to a period and show you what I mean, what divergence is, because we did have big divergence. This is quite zoomed out now. I might just get away from the current to show you this this divergence, because there was significant divergence there. Right. So this went down. Look, that clearly went down quite steeply. Whereas the price, go body to body here, the price went up. So when the price goes up, but the indicator's going down, the RSI is going down, that's bearish. But if the RSI is going up and the price is going down, that's bullish. And it's a very interesting indicator. Always is. Tells you a lot about what's going to happen in the near term. You can almost bank on a trade. If there's divergence, you can almost bank on the trade in divergence. I'm trying to see if there's any more noticeable divergence on this chart. But yeah, it's a banker, really, if there's divergence. So if this was going up here and the price was going down, you're banking on a bullish move. So with that in mind, what's the recent stuff telling us? Nothing really. Nothing. It's going up there, down. Yeah, there's no divergence at the moment. There's no divergence. But always look out for divergence. Let's have a look on the 4 hour, see if there's anything telling on there. When it's on a big chart, like a weekly chart, it's a big wow factor. I mean, I've seen it work before on the weekly chart. So there to there, we've been going down. Yeah, there isn't any clear divergence at the moment, apart from that last one on the hourly chart. Okay, we'll forget the divergence. We will look at crypto that I love, because it's an oracle crypto and a very interesting one in my opinion. And it's lower cap, it's Band. Band cryptocurrency. Okay, this is Band US dollar. And this is quite interesting. From the lows on the 1st of December, when we had that Bitcoin rundown, we rallied up highly in Band. When some of the others weren't so much. So then we came down, look, perfectly down to the 786 Fibonacci. So we went all the way up to 782. Then we came down to 613 and we touched on the 786 perfectly. First of all, we came down and bounced off the 618. A healthy correction there. We came back up. We didn't really do anything. We didn't hit any moving averages. We just came right back down to the 786. Then we came up and we touched on, let me get that. Look, we come down to the 786. Then we came up to the 50, played around with the 50. Went back up to the 382. Rejection. And then we tried again and again and again. We failed again. And recently we've come down to the Fib 50. We actually closed below it. But this hourly candle is the important one because we're still touching it. We're still in touch with it at 7. And Band is a very interesting one because of previous price action. If I can just show you previous price action in Band, let's zoom right out first and look at a 2-day chart. So I want to go back to this early this spring and show you the power of Band cryptocurrency. It is an astonishing crypto for its qualities as an oracle crypto. And look at this price action here. We're down at 98 cents in June, and then by August we're at 17.80. I mean, I think it's an absolutely incredible phenomenon. Let's have a zoom in on this low action here, and then the big boom upwards. So I first was getting in it in April around here, when it was like, no, it's actually May. So it's around here, 80. I first got into it. I'm not actually sure which date. These are 2-day candles. So it's around 80. So around here, around the end of April. And I sillily got out soon after, most of it, when it went to 153 there. So that's a big increase itself. And then we had a correction and people were writing it off. And I happened to be an idiot during this period here. I bailed out on Band, and look what happened. My biggest mistake in cryptocurrency, my biggest ever mistake in cryptocurrency was here when I bailed out of Band here. I bailed out at 153. Look what happened. It went down and hit lows on the 3rd of July at 113, and then look what happened to it. One of the most remarkable run-ups in the history of any financial monetary object happened soon after I bailed out. I bailed out 153 around here, and look what happened. It went from, on the 3rd of July, so the 3rd of July, you had 105. By the 3rd of August, you're hitting highs of 805. And then not long after, on the 10th of August, it hit highs of 18. Now, I'm not telling you it's going to happen again now, but I think we are brewing up for something spectacular in Band cryptocurrency. I think this is brewing up. There is going to be something spectacular going off in this again, like what happened here before. And I just think it's best to be in with whatever you can be in with for it to behave like this again. And I think it will, because of its Oracle capabilities. The marketing department is so far ahead, and it's going to do that behavior again. And you must try and be in. Let's have a look on a big picture. We haven't got information on a weekly chart, any averages. So let's see on a 3-day chart either. It's not great. Okay, we've got the 50 out. The 50 on a 3-day chart is interesting, and that's where we're playing about at the moment. So get above this, get a close above the 50, which is at 727. If we get a close above that level, I think we're in business, because that's the 150-day moving average. It's very similar to the 21-week moving average, because it's a 3-day chart and it's a 50, so it's times 350. Let's have a look at the fib from the high. So we're at the fib 236 as well, which is also an interesting thing. If we can get above 708, I have big expectations that there's going to be another similar run-up at some stage in this cryptocurrency. And it'll be difficult to know when to get out. Of course, it'll be difficult to know exactly when to pull your finances out, because when it ran up here, who's to say it's going to stop? Look at that for a spinning top candle. The high candle here, look at that for a spinning top. Have you ever seen anything like it, where in a 3-day chart, the highs, over 3 days, the highs, it opened at 1489, it topped out 1822, and it had lows of 103446 as it came down to the fib 50. So the fib 50 again, support back up to the 786 perfectly, because it went above and then it used it as perfect resistance, and then all the way down to here. In 3 days, it went from highs of 1515 to lows of 775. So you do have to watch these cryptos for, imagine if you were still in here on the 31st of August, highs of 17, and then by the 3rd of September, lows of 775. Some people would have been happy that it went back up there. If they'd have stayed in from these highs, would have been happy. But then if they hadn't got out there, they're in a losing streak there. If what I'm saying is, look, some people, they may have held on when it went up here, gone down, been disappointed. Then when it went back up, they'd have been delighted thinking it's going above 20. But then if they hadn't have sold here and stayed in and watched it go down to there, God, I'm still hodling. But yeah, we need to know when to sort of pull out. And I have big expectations for Band cryptocurrency. I really do. I have huge expectations. So good to see you this morning, folks, and hope to catch up with you all soon.